And what is up, everyone? It is me, Hand from Above, joined by my lovely two co-hosts, Brandon and Nanman. What is up, guys?
Oh, stuff. Thanks, same as usual.
Well, it's not the same here on the podcast.
That is true.
Because we have a special guest joined with us. He's going to be doing an interview with us, guys. So might as well just bring him right in. It is Bill Sprue Bolden, is it? Did I get it right, Bill?
Yeah, Spruik. Yep,
Spruik.
and I'm Bill
Okay. So, there we go. And guys, Bill is a professional DJ slash magic aficionado. Makes music for all the guys that love and basically play magic. And if you haven't seen it, the most recent thing I think that I know of, Bill, that you've done is the Jamie Park rap video.
That's the most recent magic-related thing I did,
Yes.
yeah. So do you want to start on that?
Well, let's start with what came first, the DJ or the magic guy?
The magic guy. The music... The magic guy came, in 6th grade, right? I started in the Dark or the Revised.
See, those are the days.
And I just never really stopped. But I also have been a musician and a composer my whole life. And it was around 2007-ish, around Lorwyn era standard, I want to say, was when I just had to combine my hobbies. And I started making songs about Magic the Gathering. And then at the end of 2010, I had heard Patrick Chapin idly talking about how cool it would be if somebody was to make Magic the Gathering music. And I just sort of sent him a Facebook message, said, hey, I don't know how serious you were, but I know you're like a multimedia guy, you write, you do video, you do all these other things. Do you want to be involved in this? Because I have an album half finished, and I think we can do great things together. And he was like, yeah. I mean, he's just a crazy guy like that. Like, you write him with a proposition like that out of the blue, and he's like, okay. Just for the love of the game anyway, because it's a more chance to create magic content. So then we released the full-length album, The Gathering, in 2011, and it just continued. I've done a couple one-offs since then, too, like the Ravnica raps and so on. And then it's only been in the last, about 2 years ago, that Bump in the Night started, and then DJing since then.
Yeah, dude, I tell you what, when you hit me up, really how I found Bill, guys, or Bill found me, is he added me on Twitter. I looked at it, I said, Bump in the Night DJ, tons of followers. I'm like, he's got to be good at something at least. So I listened to his stuff, and I'm like, wow, okay, we have something here, and he needs to come on and talk about that. So that's how we got Bill here, and I'm pretty stoked. I'm not gonna lie, because I listen to your stuff now when I play without streaming. Because if I upload it to YouTube, we have all sorts of copyright issues. So, and I can't have that. So
sets on YouTube, but I can't for the same reason. They wouldn't last a minute. And it's part of being a DJ. You're playing other people's music.
yeah, I've seen that, and I guess SoundCloud's doing the same thing now, anyways. But that's getting off topic. So Magic first. Let's go into Magic. Since you said you really kind of got serious in the Lorwyn standard, which I consider the most broken version of standard ever, because I played that.
Man.
No, Lorwyn was pretty broken, bud.
I actually got serious about standard in Invasion Odyssey standard. So Upheaval Tog was the best deck, and it could play 4-factor fictions.
That sounds way more broken.
Lorwyn standard has any.
I might go with that as the most broken. I took a little break there. I was still buying stuff, but I didn't play so much at that time. So we know we're in first 6th grade was your first Magic. What is your favorite Magic card? Go all around. Favorite Magic card
with Wolf's Head art.
I like that.
Okay.
I've been asked this question a lot. Actually, I have a print of it framed on the wall. It's behind the computer, so I can't show it to you. But
that's fine. So you can look at it every time you're up there. So
yeah, I think the reason I like Hymn to Turok is because when I was 10, I was wrong about a lot of things. I thought the coolest thing you could do on turn 1 was Dark Ritual into like Urg Raiders and an Unholy Strength on it with your 3 mana. Like, oh, I got a 4/4, and
Can't possibly lose.
I thought, obviously everyone thinks Crawworms are good. I couldn't turn down the value given by Thalids. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I also knew that Hymn to Turok was like the coolest thing around, and it was 4 in all my decks. So I look back, almost 20 years later at 10-year-old Billy, and he had a lot of bad ideas, but he was right about one thing, so I liked that.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I got a good kick out of that.
When your favorite card is a Legacy staple, then you're probably doing pretty good. So
yeah.
Well done.
Let's go through. So what do you do full time? I mean, are you a DJ like full time? You just sit there and make music, like go up to events? Because I know you were just recently, if I remember correctly, last weekend up in Toronto for a big 8-bit event. So.
Yep. Last weekend in Toronto, a month before that in Minneapolis, 2 months before that in Montreal. But that's all on the side. I find it a lot easier to get the most value out of my hobby and my passion by having a strong day job. And this is something I would recommend to a lot of creative types, including any artists or whatever out there, is the temptation to live off the hobby is strong, right? But if you have a day job that's doing the job of keeping your rent paid and your lights on, then it really lets you, in your spare time, you can do things like do stuff for exposure or do stuff without knowing if there's going to be money in it, which really helps because it's hard to have to look for profit in every single show.
Oh, I definitely agree. That's one thing I started here. I went from making profit off a esports thing to, well, I love Magic, so let's just do a podcast.
Right. And do you find that the esports is more enjoyable now that it's back to being a hobby and not something that you need to rely on to keep the heat running?
I totally just gave up esports, so I went cold turkey. I went right out. So
Pat kind of messed over me and Nan Man by just quitting. So.
He did.
Hey, I brought you guys along with me.
That's true.
That's true. We did get to do a podcast, although UR was really fun.
It was.
No, but I would have to agree,
am
though, that the whole having that hobby thing that you can be like, all right, I'm going to spend my free time working on this, and I think it's more fun having that instead of having to stress about income-related stuff involved with it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a good time to be trying to make a living off of music. It is a very good time to be making a side job out of music. It's that point where you can definitely treat yourself to a nicer dinner every once in a while, but you wouldn't want to pay your rent off it. But
or buy some sick Magic cards.
A lot of times when I travel to play a show in another city, I get in a Grand Prix the same weekend and just subsidize. I subsidize the Grand Prix with the show, which is it's nice. It's like all my hobbies in one weekend.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm a regular IT guy, like a lot of people. That is my day grind, and that's great for what it is. But online, I first got to be well known just because I was coming in with music about Magic the Gathering with a well known name like Patrick Chapin, and we were happy to just kind of get really welcomed by the community. I think Jace the Mind Sculptor and songs like that got a lot of views and people liked them, and just it felt really good to contribute a phrase like that and the Still Had All D's song to the popular Magic lexicon, which was great. And then from there I started making Bump in the Night, which isn't explicitly Magic related in any way, but I hosted on MTG Cast, and it's kind of oriented around being music. Obviously you can listen to this music no matter what you're doing, right? It's music, but I want it to be there for Magic players first, and that's people have picked up on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I picked it up, and dude, it just kind of gets you going. You're just okay, I can just grind games now. And when I play a control deck, I grind games. So
It's kind of comes to the
workout
territory.
music, studying music, and it's good Magic the Gathering music. And it's been going almost 2 years strong every single Monday without fail, which is the big thing. Is I want people to know that every Monday on MTG Cast they can count on another hour of electronic music, which is really popular with people in this community. And a lot of times it is geekier oriented because I throw in special chiptunes episodes all the time and things just kind of to play back to the fact that I know we're all nerds here.
nice. So
So, actually, I was wondering, so how did you get started with MTG Cast? How long have you been with them?
MTG Cast, I started there December 3rd was my first episode of Bump in the Night on MTG Cast. In December 3rd, 2012? 2012.
Okay.
So about 19 months ago.
Okay, so you started it with them, or were you doing Bump the Night before that?
No, I started with MTG Cast. When I decided I was going to do a cast because I was starting to DJ more and I wanted a place to put a new hour of material every week, I didn't want to do SoundCloud or something, be another face in the crowd. I already knew where the people who liked me from having done The Gathering with Patrick Chapin were. And they're on MTG Cast. And I was like, there's hundreds of other DJs in the world for people who just want to be EDM bros. I'm going to be the one for Magic players on their site. And so I just started there. It was the only place I looked.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, we actually were just talking about that before you came on about MTG Cast, about maybe moving this podcast over there and seeing if they take us. So
Talking to them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's get back on track with the interview questions, because I totally just jumped around. So the album with Patrick Chapin, that's kind of sounds like that was the turning point for you. You were doing music, but then you're like, dude, let's get Chapin involved and just kind of see where this goes, and that just kind of jetted you.
It's funny that you call it the turning point. I mean, it's not like I was living out of my van or something.
No, but I'm just saying, you went from just that guy that likes to do music, and then now it's you're the guy that pros come to do music.
Right. The Magic Raps, they were forum specials, basically, before I met Patrick. When you're a dude with a microphone and 10 years of making your own beats, but you're still just, a guy being like, watch out, gonna tap my mana, and Still Had All These, you're just posting them on the Star City Games forums, and people are like, oh, that's cool, guy. That's nice, that was fun. But, you get 100 people to listen to it. And then Patrick came on and just blew it up because he's in the top 5 most beloved Magic personalities there is, if not number 1. And it's a lot of it is because he's the kind of pro who, when approached, do you have songs you want to make about Magic the Gathering? He's like, yes. And originally, we just started by dipping our toes in the water with one track, seeing how we work together. And then before you know it, he is half the album. So, if you guys have, I don't know how many people have listened to The Gathering straight through, but it has got some great tracks from him on it. Like, The Storm, which is a 9-minute long track of the play-by-play of his famous match with Dragonstorm in the finals against Gabriel Nassif from 2007.
I might have to. I haven't picked that. I haven't grabbed that one yet, so I might have to actually.
The Storm is on YouTube, and it's synced to footage of the match. And the
That's
whole
really
thing
cool.
is actually in a big story arc leading up from some things that happened to him just before Worlds all the way up through the conclusion of the match. It's pretty furious.
That's really cool. I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon, what else do we got? Why don't you take the next question, bud?
Sure. So this is just like something that I'm wondering. What's your favorite format? Like, personally, I love Cube, so I think everybody's got something different. What are you into?
I probably like draft the best. I will draft more than anything else. And for years, I didn't have the money to maintain a collection, so draft was the only Magic I got to play. And still, most weeks, if I have my choice between going to the FNM that's standard or the FNM that's draft, I'll do the draft instead. That said, in the last year, Fortune has been good to me, and I've gotten my collection up to the point now where I have a deck for every format. So these days I'm playing much closer to even proportion. Draft is still probably my favorite, though. And my favorite draft format ever might be OLS. Onslaught Legion Scourge is my... That was
That's
the
a good
last
format.
That one, Storwind Morningtide might be the last one I feel like I really mastered. It's tough to master one, just feel like you know it in and out.
Yeah, it's it's tough to have mastered like anything in Magic, and I think draft sets are actually probably more difficult than standard, just because there's more interactions within the cards that are very specific to that format. Standard, it's like, hey, look, I have, a card right now. It's like, oh, look, I have Stormwood Dragon and Domri. Sweet. If I flip a Domri with flip a Dragon with my Stormwood Dragon, I get to draw it. Cool. That's kind of the end of that interaction. Standard draft, I think M14 specifically was a set where there were a lot of little archetypes within it, and the synergy within them was actually pretty difficult at first. I think a lot of people had a bit of trouble with it right away. So.
And M14 was a masterable one. I just look for that feeling sometimes when, I don't know that I mastered M14. I think maybe I got a quarter of the way there. I think some people did master it, though, which is there's a feeling sometimes when you play it enough that you go through a whole draft, and just every time you make a pick, you are just sure it's the right pick. And if you're not sure, you at least know what the criteria you're evaluating it are based on. As compared to Vintage Masters, I just can't put my finger on it. I've been drafting it all week, and I open the pack and I look at what my choices are, and I just flip the table. I don't know.
The first thing you do is look if there's any power in the back.
Well, right.
And then you look for the best blue card.
Barring that, then I'm looking at these other cards. I don't know what the yardstick I'm supposed to be making my decisions based on is. I don't have that yet.
Yeah, trust me. Our sponsor, Card Hoarder, one of their guys is a vintage guy. That's his format is vintage. So I've been going to him when I'm doing vintage master, dude, what do I do? And he goes, oh, just go goblins. If you could get goblins, just go goblins. He goes, you will win every time. I go, really? He goes, yeah, just goblins.
Just do it.
Just do it. And I'm like, he goes, but if you see Power 9, get it, and just hang on to it. Other than that, goblins. So I said, oh, okay.
Last Friday, I cracked out on Vintage Masters. Every once in a while when there's a high-profile set release like this, or a Cube online or Modern Masters, me and all my friends will all get together at once. We had 7 of us all in a circle, just all doing Modern Masters or Vintage Masters drafts at the same time. And just, people are having fun. And I think I did 6 in a row. We were at it till
Oh,
the
good
second.
lord.
It's just fun to kind of binge draft.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that. Just Vintage Masters is one of those ones it's going to take me a while to get used to.
And it's an expensive one to have to get used to, too. So
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
$7 a pack, is it?
7 a pack.
Well,
Alright.
that's the same as Modern Masters was, but I feel like, from what I've seen, I think I like Modern Masters better as a format. I'm more familiar with the cards, and it's probably a big piece of it, because, honestly, I don't know any of the vintage cards, but I was more comfortable paying $7 a pack for that, mainly because I was actually buying them in person as well, like, just not online. I would do Phantom online, so I don't know. Has it seemed worth it? Like, have you opened any Power yet?
I haven't opened Power. I have opened a good amount of money, and I'm quite satisfied with it. In 6 drafts, I've opened Soul Ring, like 4 duels, and a Force of Will. So I'm only bleeding slightly. I'm like bleeding value slightly.
Which isn't actually a bad thing to say. So
Well, I mean, I'm gaining fun, so
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
to me, Magic's all about fun. If you're having fun, that's why I still play it. I mean, I've been playing 20 years since Alpha. If I stopped when I gave breaks when I wasn't having fun. But now I'm back working and I have fun with it. And, I'm going. Now, Bill, I got a question for you. 'Cause
Sure.
we might actually get a meetup here. Are you going to the SCG Open in Syracuse?
Yes, that one I have plans for. I'm also trying to book a show at a nearby venue there. I'm looking in Armory Square.
Okay.
Actually.
Because I will be there, sir, with my crew. So
Oh, well, I
Man,
look
that is
forward to
cool.
meeting.
I have a crew. It's all called the Paradise Crew. It's my game shop. I think there's about 20 of us going up there.
That's it's actually the weekend. The weekend before is my best friend from childhood's wedding, and I'm in the wedding party. And I will have been doing wedding related things for a while leading up to then. There's bachelor parties, stuff like that. So it'll be like my first free weekend in some time, and I am just looking forward to Magic all weekend, the whole weekend.
Well, I think if we hook up, we might have to sit down and figure out a draft or something. I'll maybe have to bring a box up from the store and.
Conspiracy.
I'm always willing to cube. I'm always willing to draft.
Yeah.
Man, I want to queue with you.
All right. So let's see. Where are we on our things? Bump in the night. We've gone over.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Well, we haven't really talked too much.
Yeah, we haven't talked about
Bump
it.
in the night.
You started 2 years
What made
ago.
you start it? Essentially.
Oh, well, it basically, I was really satisfied with where my music was heading in the studio. I'd made The Gathering, and that was, very popular. Lots of people liked it, which was cool. And I had my own releases, which was fun and like artistically fulfilling. But as a guy who was mostly a producer, there was nothing for me to be doing live. And basically, the experience to play in front of audiences again was something I needed to reclaim, which means becoming a DJ, which is pretty cool. And so I reached out to people I knew, learned the craft from, awesome people I had in this town, such as Nick Nitronic and Medicine, and other people helped me out getting started. And it just, after I started doing it, it pretty much eclipsed regular producing as my main musical outlet of choice, because it's just so much fun. Like, that's what helps keep the bump in the night coming, is that it is, most weeks, it's the most fun thing I get to do. It's like an hour of a private dance party just in my apartment just to make it. And it's, I hope that a lot of the time the fun I'm having comes through in the voiceovers.
Dude, I will not lie. Every time I hear the voiceover, I'm just like, yeah, all right, let's keep going. And the head just keeps popping. And I'm like, I feel like I'm back being like 21, 20 in a club doing something, but being nerdy about it. I'm like, it's kind of fun with that. So
it's not too much of a surprise what it's like when I make it here. Like, it basically looks like it does in here right now, except I'm back there and I'm just like having the time of my life and dancing even though nobody's watching, and then like grabbing the microphone and being like, that track was so cool, that track was such and such by blank.
I am so pumped right now.
Yeah, that's actually what it's like. And then, on weeks when I play out, I like to save my set and upload the set that I played out as the next week's treat so people can hear what it would have been like to be there, which people really like. And just that's Bump in the Night is pretty much what I'm in it for now. There will be more gatherings as cool magical things continue to happen to me, and as cool magical things continue to happen to Patrick, which, you know, not to name events, but he's done some cool things lately. There will be more gatherings, but my meat and potatoes of my creative energy is making Bump in the Night every week.
I was
Which
about to
is
say, he's done a few cool things lately.
he has.
One in particular, I think, is more impressive than the others.
Getting married, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Or are you talking about releasing next level deck building?
All of the
Yeah,
above. He's
clearly.
gotten married, released
I was
next
talking
level,
about the Pro Tour win.
or then you got the Pro Tour win. So
I
Well-
think that's a pretty impressive feat. Not gonna lie, that's very hard to accomplish.
Although he is not the first person to have me do something musical with his Pro Tour win.
who is the
It's true.
first?
That would be Jamie Park
Ah,
at his Pro Tour.
huh. Well, I guess we're going to have to talk about that since you just transitioned into it. So, guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, do you have the link, Brandon? Because I think I sent it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, put it in the chat. Bill here did the music. Basically, Jamie came to you and said, hey, I got this, and handed you the video, and that was that.
Jamie came with a 13-minute recording, and this is how crazy awesome the guy is. He just freestyled or just did that whole thing and recorded it. I don't know if it was at his computer or his phone. It actually sounded great, and was like, I made this whole thing. And I took it and produced it for him and made the beat, made everything around it, got it to fit in, and it all synced up to video, and now it's the world's first tournament report in the form of a rap, basically, with an accompanying video. And you can watch it and just roll with this beat for like 12 and a half minutes in which, you know, sit rhyming over and over again. Like, how many things would you think rhyme with Courser of Crufix? But, like, seriously, just match by match, what he's drawing, what he's attacking, what he's playing with, who he practiced with, what it was like to test at the house, his whole story. He is just an awesome dude.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. I sat there, my mouth dropped, because I'm like, is he really what? And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing, and I was shocked. I mean, I kind of feel like we need more tournament reports now done like that.
Yeah, he set the bar for what makes an amazing tournament report.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that not everyone can rap, so they're just not going to be able to hold up now.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to get approached with more people who want to do that in the future, just because, I mean, I'm just happy to be making music in relation to Magic. Like, you know, it's just awesome. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, I did something awesome, can you help make music out of it? If I have the time, then it's like, yeah, this is why I'm here. I don't know. It's the only thing I want to be doing. What else could I do?
No, I'm completely with it. I hope Namman's okay. He gave us a 1 second, and he
Yeah, he's been gone for a bit now.
yeah, he disappeared on us. So
I mean, he's missing out. Doesn't get to ask all the questions.
well, next week he's missing out on our other guests, so I feel
Yeah.
bad. So
He's not got the luck here, is apparently what's going on.
anyways, so yeah, I mean that's pretty unreal. He just came to you and be like, hey, can you
Let's
do
do this.
anything? Yeah.
That is
So,
pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So
I think
I had a
so
little
just
bit of
move on to,
fun.
like,
No, I had
Sorry,
a
go
little
ahead.
fun because when I asked for questions from your Twitter following,
yeah.
we had a friend. I take it, Wizard Bumpin'. Now, is he a friend of yours?
That's Travis,
Okay.
a ne'er-do-well from the local game store.
So he asked you a question of, who is your favorite Buffalo Magic player that isn't you, a family member, or someone you're engaged to? So
I told him nobody. It's a 10-way tie for last place because I engaged the one I like. I just
Okay.
didn't want to answer him. Oh,
No, I got you.
he's a friend of mine at the store. He's a cool guy.
It made me laugh. I'm like, as
Often,
soon as I saw that, I'm like, being a guy from Rochester, since we're so close together anyway, Bill. Like, I mean, you're literally like a 50-minute trip down the expressway for me. So, and I just kind of got a chuckle. I'm like, all right, yeah.
That's a loaded question.
yeah, it's a loaded question. He also said a potential question for you to ask me was, why do you hate people who eat meat so much?
Yes.
Yeah, why
And
do
I
you
told him the
secretly
answer.
hate
Yeah.
people? It's a secret.
Yeah, you're supposed to secretly hate them, not
Oh,
come out with it. I guess. So
I just want to
Wait, do
be
you
them.
hate people who eat meat?
Nah, I'm a reluctant vegetarian.
nothing
Oh,
wrong with
no, good
that.
choice.
I know it's something that I have to do now because it's who I am. But it's fine. I had a quarter century of eating wings behind me. I don't need to eat anymore.
Well, you come from Buffalo, where they have literally
True.
the best wings in the United States or North
Some
America.
excellent cheese.
Yes,
So,
this is our city's claim to pride.
yep, that and the worst NFL team in ever.
Well, worst NHL team right now. There's still worse NFL teams. There's the Jaguars. I don't
True
know.
story. Because I'm a Bills
think-
guy and a Sabres guy. I get you. Trust me. I can make fun of them just like anyone because I've been a fan for so long.
Right.
So let's go into one last thing. If you could make music with any one Magic guy out there now, like one or maybe one or two, who would it be that you'd like want to tap on the shoulder and say, "Hey, let's do something cool"?
Other than me, of course.
Brandon, you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, I'm trying to think. I do think that Luis Scott Vargas has a pleasant and calming voice. He has a mannerism in his delivery that soothes the nerves. And I believe I could make a song with him that was like a gentle tonic. But other than that, frankly, I think if you were to tap somebody who's just been on the coverage side of the tour for the longest time, a lot of good rap is about references, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you're going to have a line and you want to relate it to something else that's going to have to rhyme. And so you're going to say something, maybe you know that you're trying to tell the story of a game and you're going to want to say that I'm going to tutor up for a shriek maw, but then you want to relate it to some player who's like, just like so-and-so has done a certain thing.
Yeah.
And that's where having played for the longest, knowing the most cards, and knowing the most people is going to come in handy. So I would have to say a Brian David Marshall or a Rich Hagon, just because I would love to have them be needing to find a rhyme and like pluck out a gem from 11 years ago, where it's like, oh wow, who remembers when Carlos Romeo did that? Who remembers when Huey Jensen did
Oh my God, the English accent.
Probably like 7 people, but you know.
Oh,
Easy
wow.
for those 7 people.
People or like names that we forget today. And
Yeah.
Very wise, a pros of days past.
I could see that, like a good old English accent out of Rich, Rich Hagan, That'd be
Yeah,
a fun
just
one.
Brian David Marshall's a class act. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna.
I actually follow Brian David Marshall on Twitter, and he is just one of those like nice guys. It seems like you just want to go up and shake his hand, and be like, "Thank you for doing what you're doing."
I have at Grand Prix Montreal. I think I came up and shook his hand and said something very akin to "Please keep doing what you're doing,"
Yeah,
which is basically being classy as hell.
yeah. No, I definitely feel like that would be needed because there's a lot of guys out there. Like you come up watching it, and now that we have Twitch and all that, where we can actually watch our friends play or watch guys we knew or idolize play, it just made Magic blow up. Like before, it was just you go to a GP, you see these guys every now and again. We didn't have Star City Open still about 2 years ago, so it just to me feels like we're in that prime now. Like Magic's just gonna grow and keep growing. What are you on the same boat with me there, Bill?
Absolutely. If you bet against Magic at any point in the last 20 years, you'd lose.
You lost
So
bad.
I am happy to be on the winning team. It's cool to see a hobby that I thought like me and 5 other people in the world played in 1995, and like huddling around the lunch table with our, cards with the old crusty art and like crudely drawn orcs from the old days, and then today, and everywhere I go, meeting people who play. I was a public player at my office that I got hired at last year, and several closeted players have come out to me, like, which is interesting. That I guess, people who don't know how awesome and accepted Magic is now sometimes still think it's a geeky thing from 10 years ago and not like a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
So I've had 3 different people at my work like confide in me, like, hey, I guess, did you know I still play too? And they're like, but I don't want people to know. I don't want people, like, what? You don't want the other people in the IT department to know you're a dork?
Come on, I'm an IT guy, and IT guys are dorks. We do stupid things. We love geeky stuff.
Right, but then it creeps up on me too. Like, at the cafeteria, the one of the girls who works the sandwich line, like, one day I was getting a sandwich. She's like, "You're Bill, right? I heard that you are a Magic player. I also play. What store do you play at?" And I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Also, please, extra jalapenos." But no, it's like, that's the great thing now. You run into Magic players everywhere, and I think it's just, I don't think that's going to stop, and I think it's going to get more and more prevalent.
Right. So for I come from a esports background mostly, so in places like Korea and even in Sweden right now, it's being televised a bit, especially in Korea. Do you think that could be a thing for Magic, like to be televised on the actual, like on Global or whatever you guys have there? I'm not sure what the stations are in the US too much.
There are people who know this better than me, and so I'm not like a totally qualified guy to answer it, but from what I've read from people who understand it, and what sounds reasonable to me, is that the internet is a much more native home for Magic, because it requires a certain level of buy-in and understanding, especially to watch at the pro level. You have to understand a lot of things before you can watch your first Pro Tour level game of Modern and understand why what you're seeing is cool. And the experiment where they had it on ESPN 8, the Ocho, for a while, back around 2000, it didn't translate well. It's not like poker. You can turn on, you can come in the middle of a hand, and you only need to know one set of rules, and you're watching it. So I think that it works best with internet. The internet and Magic were made for each other.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just going to go one last thing. Now, SCG Open this week is in Vegas. How many poker players do you I know a ton that actually play Magic. So, any guys going out to Vegas this weekend, be prepared to be struck when you see actual, like, professional, that's all they do is play poker, show up and sit down at the table next to you. I mean, have you been out to Vegas yet, Bill, for anything like that, or?
No, I have not. I've never been to Vegas.
Okay.
Have you guys?
No, I keep seeing it. I keep going, one of these days I'll get out there. But yeah, it hasn't happened. I know a few of my buddies going out there, and they went out to the Modern Masters one, the big one.
Oh yeah.
And they said literally he sat down and there was like 4 professional poker players at his table, and he's like, "Yup."
What's happening?
You guys make millions of dollars a year sitting at a table playing cards, and I'm going to sit down next to you. He goes, "I felt so underqualified." So, anyways, I think that's really it. I wanted to keep it short and sweet with you today, Bill.
I appreciate it.
But I want to have you back sometime after, maybe a little bit more. Because I really feel like, State of the Gathering, we're going to keep doing new content and have new guests on and maybe follow up with those guests and see where they're at and what they've been doing. Or maybe we'll do something live in Syracuse in a month and a half. How about that?
I mean, if you have something to film on or you can broadcast from there, I would love to go from the tournament site, you know. Plus, I always just hope to spike another event sometime.
Well, I think we can. I think we can get something there. I have a laptop and my phone has. I can transmit to both, so I think we can do something. So we'll have to see if we can nail that down. So guys, where you could find Bill here on Twitter. Give him another follower. It's not like he doesn't have enough already at a almost million followers.
The podcast is very, very popular.
Yes. So follow him at Spruik. He has a website. It's spruik.net, right?
Yep.
And youtube.com/Spruik is his YouTube. So,
Yep.
Yeah. We'll link it throughout the night for the rest of the night in the chat because you are a pretty amazing guy.
Well, thank you. Other than that, the only things to look out for me is a new episode of Bump every Monday for as long as I'm here. Just always look for that on MTG Cast. So.
Cool. Did you want to stay longer? I know you said before you were
Yeah,
open to the
I
idea.
can stay longer. What are the topics from here? Are we going to talk about?
We're going to the new Magic site. Wizards just released a new Magic site. Talking a little bit about Vintage Masters, where we've seen it, and you've already said you've drafted literally a ton of it.
Yeah.
Who has changed in the top 25 rankings, and then taking questions. Well, then M15 spoilers too. Sorry, I forgot. There's been a few new spoilers dropped, so we have maybe a new look on Standard. Reanimator might be a thing again. I know BBD is really hoping this Angel pans out. So, other than that, we have a few questions that I've been putting in about Melirapod and Modern, and if we think Modern will be coming back strong or Standard will still be the favorite in play. And I do have an answer for that, so because I do know what Wizards is trying to push.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd be very happy.
Yeah,
to have you for the
would
rest
love
of the
to
show
have
as well.
you. You could be a special guest host since Natman has now just up and disappeared on us.
Yeah, we're
So
not sure what
I'll,
happened.
I hope he's okay. I'll replace Sandman. You have me for probably another half hour.
well, we could do a half hour. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the new Magic site. Originally, when they relaunched it, there was a ton of broken links, and it linked back to old content. Like, it was all sorts of wonky. It felt like they kind of like did the changeover and just said go, and didn't actually check it. Now, what do you guys think of the new site?
I think it looks way better. That's for sure.
Have you
I
seen?
think couldn't have looked much. The old site aged poorly. The new site looks like a real site.
Hmm.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a real site. And have you checked out the Gatherer? Like,
Yeah, I don't actually. The Gather isn't working as well. I like the look of it, but a lot of the times it seems really glitchy right now. I think once they get it all figured out, like, so one problem I've had is I'll type into the little search box and just nothing will go in, or I've also had it. I'll type the entire card name that I'm looking for. I'll hit enter and it won't work. It won't work. And then if I backspace and the little thing pops down, I can click on it and it'll work. It's been a little weird.
yeah, definitely. I mean, but I do agree. The look of the new site is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's clean, it's smooth. It looks like what Magic is now, because they're going with M15's a whole new card look. We have a whole new border, so they're trying to get this whole new look, and I like it.
Yeah.
So
I especially like, so they have the little tabs or whatever at the top. So they've got like game info, events, articles, community. These are much better than what they had before. It's really like I remember this being super awkward trying to find things, and now just having articles is fantastic. Like, to look, hey, I want to look at news. Okay, I go to articles and look in, archives or whatever, and then I can find exactly what I need to look for. Or if I want to check out an event, it has a coverage tab right there. It's great, and it has like schedules and stuff as well. So this is quite useful compared to the old site. That's for sure.
no,
I also the navigation makes a little more sense. The old 5-way breakdown of like the game, tournament area, trading card game, daily article or something, and then there was stuff that was under parts you wouldn't expect, like like GP schedule was buried under like trading cards or something.
Yeah, it was under TCG.
Yeah,
Like, why is this in TCG?
and Magic Online was also buried in some part instead of in like its own dedicated area, where I think you would imagine that Magic Online, being the level product it was, needed its own subsite.
Oh, I completely agree. Now, which Magic Online do you play? Do you play the old one or the beta?
I can stand the beta. I can.
Yes, another person.
Listen, you shouldn't be happy that there's more people who are willing to compromise and use a far inferior client.
Well, I can run it on my. I can't run it on my laptop. On my laptop, I have to use
The
V3.
older one?
But on my music production machine, which has 4 gigahertz cores and like 64 gigabytes of RAM and like all the things, that machine can run the new beta client with only slight lag.
So my problem with the beta client isn't like lag or anything, although that's annoying too. It's the glitches, like when you have Corsair Curfix and both of you have one, they're stacked on top of each other and you can't move them. So every time you want to look at your Corsair, or like if you want to try to play a land, you can't do it. You have to move the top one to look at it, but you still can't click the land off it, or that was the problem I was having. So like it takes away from the functionality. If these problems are fixed, then it's fine. It doesn't look great, but it's okay. But if they force it on us in the summer, and it's still that, I don't want to have to play Corsair Curfix, or I can't play lands off the top of my deck. That's pretty important.
I only draft online. I play a lot of Constructed in real life, but I don't online. So I only have simpler interactions. In draft, you mostly target things with spells and have power and toughness. You don't do weird things. I wouldn't want to play Storm with the new client. That's for sure.
No.
No, that's a definite not. So
I think like the look is also a little kind of cartoony for Magic. Like it looks like I'm almost playing Pokemon, which is fine. I like Pokemon too. Like I played it every once in a while, but when I play Magic, I want to play Magic.
True. No, I see. I have a lot on Magic Online because I don't get out being a family man. 3 kids, wife, married. So I can jam a ton of games on Magic Online and get my results needed. So I know what deck I want to go play at the store.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So other than that, I think the new site, I give a thumbs up. I do agree. We had someone in chat just say, in 5 years, it's going to look like it's trying hard to look modern. But I said, I hope they keep updating it now. Now that they've updated it, maybe the code's a little bit easier. Hopefully, it just kind of keeps flowing and.
Just continually make adjustments is how you update them. Or, like I'm assuming that's how you keep a website fresh. I haven't actually done it before, so.
It is. I have one, so.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Do you want to move on to Vintage Masters?
Vintage Masters. Now, I've drafted it. Have you drafted it, Brandon?
No, I just can't come up with money for that. Like, I just can't justify it.
And I know, Bill, you said you drafted it for 6 hours in a row.
Yeah, that's sweet.
No, 6 drafts in a row.
6 drafts. So that would be like
way more than 6
24
hours.
hours of drafting. So.
Well, the drafts were closer to maybe 40 minutes in length each because I was losing a lot in the first round.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I was opening the packs, and it was like, okay, the rare is not Soul Ring or anything like that, so now I have to make a decision. And then it's like, I don't know, what do I want? Do I want Lightning Rift or Battle Screech? And then the next, I only won 1 out of my 6, so that's kind of rough.
That's a little rough, but
learning. The one I won was like it was a Soul Ring and 4 Battle Screech abomination.
That's a thing.
It's hard to lose a Soul Ring in Limited.
I was winning a lot on like turn 3 or 4.
Yes. Soul Ring's pretty good.
Strong card.
I do enjoy my Soul Rings. No, I drafted the 1. I did not hit a power. I did hit a force. I drafted goblins with a splash of blue for force because, yeah, it's a good card.
You
And
splashed a Force of Will?
why not?
You're psycho.
Have you met me? Have you seen what crazy things I build?
Yeah, I know. I expected it.
Yep. So other than that, I think it's a solid set. I think it's going to go on for a while.
So are there archetypes that are just stronger than everything else, or is it pretty balanced overall?
Honestly, pretty balanced. I mean, the only time it's not is if someone gets a power 9 and then just drafts some scenely.
Power
and
that's not.
The power that actually plays into their hand.
Okay.
And then it just gets stupid real quick.
Well, unless it's a Mox, in which case, like, it doesn't even matter what color it is.
No. But I mean,
Battle Screech is a bit high powered for a common. It's it's semi warping, and it's easy. It's easy to get 4 or 5 of them.
yes,
I've had it multiple times, and it gets silly.
it does, and that's what's the beauty. There's archetypes already kind of picked out, and you can go that route. But at the same point, because you can draft goblins, you can just go completely. You can go into battle screeches, like you said. It's a common. I think one guy had 4 or 5 of them in our draft. It was a little ridiculous. And
one thing that I would love to point out about archetypes is Reanimator.
it is a thing.
It is a thing, but you have to let go of the idea that there's saucy targets. Like it really, I've played Reanimator a couple times, and it's sure you cheat a dude into play, but the guy you're cheating into play is Croson Tusker, or so that's awesome that you have this 6/5 that you got value out of in play on turn 3. That's really cool. But there was this one, draft. I had all the discard outlets. I had the Putrid Imps, the Frantic Searches, the Reanimates. But most of the time, I couldn't do anything better than reanimate my Land Cycler. So, cycle.
It's true.
I don't even mind that, though.
2, and bring it back turn 3. Actually,
so I played... Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's, a 3/6 Vigilance on turn 3 is very cool, but it's maybe not worth jumping through all the hoops in the world for.
Yeah, so Conspiracy, I guess it's kind of like a little transition if we want to talk about that a bit. So Conspiracy has all the cyclers as well, and it's got one reanimation card. What's it called? Victimize or something?
Yes.
You sack a guy, you get 2 guys back. I think with the land cyclers, that's probably the best set or the best deck in the format. So the black cycler specifically is just, I think it's the best one. 5/3 regenerator is really strong, and then you can pair that with lots of good removal. So you're like cycling your guys, and then turn 4 or whatever you sack, I don't know, some random little dude, get 2 cyclers back. That's really strong. So I think like the thought of just getting those back early might not seem amazing if you're used to formats like Q, but they're really strong in this kind of limited where it's not super powered.
Nope, I agree with you there. Speaking of Conspiracy, I've drafted it once, and I've seen it drafted because I work at the store.
Right.
Half dozen times, and it's a pretty interesting set to draft.
It's kind of cool. How much experience do you have with it, Bill?
I have done 4 drafts with it now.
Okay, I've only done 2.
My favorite archetype is take every hidden agenda conspiracy higher than anything else, and move in on a BS late creature. That's my favorite thing to do anyway. Like the other night, I picked Torch Fiend as unremarkable creature of choice. And they were 1 mana cheaper, with haste, tapped for mana, and searched up other Torch Fiends. So every game I started with Mountain, tap for a 2/1 with haste, tap it for a mana, and then pull all the other Torch Fiends out of my deck. Play the next one, tap it to play the next one, tap it to play the next one. So I just started every game with all the Torch Fiends.
Oh, good lord.
So did you just mulligan to Torch Fiend?
Yeah, I did. I'm a Torch Fiend each game. I also did not win because I don't think you can beat 3 people in Conspiracy no matter how good your deck is. I don't think that you can come roaring out of the gates. And
I think you got to be kind of like hidden. 'Cause that's the way I drafted. Like I had stuff, but I didn't want to like be like, "Hey, look, I have a deck. I'm gonna play him."
So Pat plays way more Commander than either of us. He's mastered the politics of it. I'm not there. Do you play a lot of Commander or any?
I only dabble.
Okay.
When
yeah.
I do play Commander, I am Nicaeus the Lunarch.
Okay.
My
I love
play
mechanics.
is Obsy Dobsy, the Ghost Council.
The Ghost
Dirty
Hawk.
old dad. Yes, I love
Dirty old dad? I have
Yeah.
not heard that before.
That's That
BBD
one's Pat
BBD has kicked
I
that
think.
one, and then it picked up, and I'm like, I looked at the card, and I'm like, it really is dirty old dad.
I like the Ghost Father. That
Yep,
one's pretty
Ghost
good.
Daddy.
Ghost Daddy. Yeah.
So,
Nice.
Nah, I
What's the
really
point if you
enjoyed
don't-
Conspiracy though, and I never thought of Torch Fiend. I might, if I do that, I have to go that route if I can get my hands on it.
Yeah, I think that what you want to look out for is you want to pick a creature that's cheap and slightly crappy, but not super crappy. And also, what helps is when you're in. I was drafting it in a 4-person draft,
Sure.
so you can actually like scope out each pack as it goes around to know what the late picks are going to be. Be like, okay, I can probably get all these Pride Guardians back.
So a friend of mine really liked 4-person draft. Did you like that better than having 8 people, or did you try with 8 people as well?
I've done it with both. I wouldn't say I have a preference. With 4, it's definitely a little more interesting. Everything going around is going to be what you're up against. But, I mean, 8 has just that many more cards open, so there's more hijinks.
Yeah. There's more shots at the foil brainstorm. Although I
Which
guess
you
still have
pulled.
to open it. Yeah, which I did.
You're
So
a
my
jerk.
strategy was to go morbid, but I pulled a foil brainstorm in pack 2 and just like got the hidden agenda to let me splash it. So I was like, alright guys. I was playing at a table with a lot of people who like value. I was like, okay, hidden agenda, I'm naming a brainstorm. They're like, alright, that's pretty sweet. This one's shiny, I think it's better, right? They were a little jealous.
Most undervalued card is Double Stroke. Double Stroke is unpassable. I think it is pickable over anything else you name.
It's a
Just,
fun card. It is a fun card.
I don't actually remember which one that is. Double
It's the one that it's a hidden agenda that when you cast a spell, double it.
Yep.
Right. This one's, yeah, it's really good.
And it is good to pair with Brimstone Volley.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yes.
Get 2 of them, and people will be sad when you're like, double stroke on Brimstone Volley, 20.
So I really want to. Wow, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I really want to get double stroke in the one that lets you draw a card whenever you cast it. So it's like, and put that on like brainstorm or something. Brainstorm is now 2 divinations, and you put it back 2 cards. Seems seems pretty good.
Seems pretty good.
One thing I try these times is double stroke on Trumpet Blast, which seems like a weak use of double stroke, but I have a feeling the world is a very different place if you can give all your attackers +4/+0 with a different spell, or with a single spell.
Yeah,
That probably
does sound-
makes silly things happen.
that sounds a little crazy. All right, well, we're getting too ridiculous here. Yeah, double stroke seems really powerful. I hadn't thought of it. Like, I've never drafted it. I thought the conspirators are really strong just because they're not a card that you have to put in your deck, but it still makes it better. So, I mean, that alone just says that is very powerful to me. I think my favorite one is World Knit. That is one that I certainly threw in my cube. If you just draft that first pick, I don't know if you can go wrong. Like, it's pretty hard to get to the point where you don't want to play your World Knit if you get it first pick, just because you take the best card every pack no matter what.
In
Your deck's gonna be
cube,
super powerful.
yes. In draft, no. I did
Yeah,
the
yeah. I'm talking
Knit conspiracy draft, and I was sorely disappointed. You think it's going to be fun, but then your deck winds up having a lot of Minamo Scrollkeeper and a lot of Valor made real. I wound up having to make some Valor real in my game.
Squirrel's
that's
Nest.
a-
That's all I'm saying. We're leaving it at Squirrel's Nest.
What? What about Squirrel's Nest?
It's a great card.
Is it though?
I'm leaving it there. Moving on.
Okay, I just have to say one thing. I feel like if they were going to put Squirrel's Nest, they should have Deranged Hermit. I want the Rock.
True story. Alright, spoilers. The biggest one coming out, I think, honestly, is the Resolute Archangel. People are hoping it is good. It's a 7-drop 4/4, but when it enters the battlefield, if your life total is lower than your starting life total, it becomes your starting life total.
So, like, this is going to be playing Commander.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. I just don't, like... Why would I want to play this in Standard?
I don't see it being a standard card.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant for Standard.
No.
I was so confused.
No, it's my Commander buddies.
Okay, sure.
Moving on.
I think
my line.
one of the cooler ones that have been spoiled recently was, like, Garruk's Wake.
Yes.
It's pretty much just planar cleansing your opponent.
By the way, rumor has it Garrick's going to be black this time.
It seems more than a rumor.
Yeah.
Given that he appears on several black cards, his Wake is black. He is very haunted. He was black in his flipped form in the previous set, and they ran that story Uncharted Realms yesterday, where it's like told from the point of Garruk, and it's very like, oh, I'm just trying to cause pain. Oh, I feel so cruel. Kill, kill, kill.
I have not read that, or what is it, like a little book or something?
Yeah.
It's the Uncharted Realms each week is like a short story, like what would be like a chapter of a book, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually like standalones. And this week's was like a chapter of like, here is Garruk waking up somewhere in the woods, killing some shit, deciding to make some friends with some other evil things, and then killing more stuff.
Alright, so I mean, Garrick's black. The only question is, will he be green as well? Thoughts?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. I think he's going to come out and just be a black planeswalker for the first time. Because, I mean, he was black when he flipped. And,
yeah,
but he wasn't
a green card.
Technically, he was green because you had to play him as green and then do your 0 ability and go that route. That means Liliana is dead finally. Thank you, Jesus.
Why is Liliana dead? She is not dead at all.
No, she's not dead, but I'm just saying she's not a planeswalker, at least as of in a black sense right now.
She is not going to, like, Garruk is hogging the space for black. So Liliana is somewhere else. But that would also explain why Nissa got a figurine in the last run of figurines, even though Nissa has not done anything interesting or been a relevant part of the storyline for years.
I think we're going to see a Nissa. That's kind of what my gut feeling is.
Oh, that's what they're saying. I mean, like, they're not going to make a figurine of a planeswalker we've known of, have had nothing to do with for a while, and then just like randomly make something for her. I didn't know about the Nissa figurine, so that's actually pretty interesting news. I thought it would be like maybe even a new green planeswalker. I don't know, but if they're bringing back Nissa, that's kind of fun. Maybe she'll be good this time, or better, playable.
Yeah, she might wind up being a Chandra or a Tybalt kind of project. You just keep making them until you hit the good one.
I hope there's no more Tybalt. Just saying, we can no more. I hated the first one so much. I want him to be done. At least Chandra's a cool character.
So dapper.
What's that?
Dapper.
He is. Tybalt is. He's kind of just like that guy.
That guy.
They are creating a planeswalker for a lot of emotions. If you're hot-headed, you like Chandra. If you're a meathead, you can like Garruk. If you're a intellectual dude, you can like Jace. And where do those of us who like to be sharp go? You have to go to Tybalt.
Clearly, you go to Tybalt. You know.
Certainly no white planeswalker that's going to get you there for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Garruk's Wake, interesting. Obviously, I don't see this being played at all in Standard, but goodness, if this is something I can get to in a Commander deck, I'm going to do that every time, and I'm going to be real happy about it.
Yep.
Because that's insane.
No, other than that, nothing that's jumped out. They've really been kind of quiet. on that front. Like, I mean, we've talked about the souls, the soul of Zendikar, the avatars.
So played in standard.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be pretty awesome.
You disagreed with me last time.
I've reconsidered. Sure.
All right, fair enough. What do you think? Do you think the souls are good enough for standard, Bill?
Well, they've only shown 2 of them, but
Right,
both of those 2 absolutely are. They are both good enough for standard. It is hard to overvalue the options they provide. Like the fact that they are a card that gives you a new thing you can do long after they're dead just simply changes the rules of attrition in a game. Particularly the Soul of Ravnica, where it's an expensive think twice at worst the second time around, but it shouldn't be too hard to play a divination that didn't cost you a card in the first place.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think the Soul of Zendikar plays really well into the green, just, I'm going to kill you really with a lot of stuff.
Blocks Storm with Dragon, which has been a problem for some green decks, so I'm
Yep.
happy with that. This is certainly a card I see being played. Something else that I really like they're putting in standard, this has been in Commander before, is Hornet Queen. Do you guys think this is good enough to be seeing a lot of play? Personally, I do. It's very good. Like, it is 7 mana, but the effect is just so powerful that it's probably there.
You got to find a way to get her on quicker. That's the only problem. At 7 mana, especially with 3 green.
Yeah, I mean, it's devotion.
She's a little rough.
This is, I think, like, the 3 green is awesome because it just adds to your devotion. If you're in like a green devotion deck, you're gonna be playing Soul of Zendikar, you're gonna be playing Hornet Queen. Probably
I guess
Fog
maybe
Rhinos.
mono green devotion's a thing after like we lose Supreme Verdict. Once everything cycles, maybe devotion comes back.
Yeah, what are you gonna worry about? Mass Calcify getting you? No.
I guess the thing with Hornet Queen is it's interesting in that it is very poorly answered by things that traditionally answer green cards, but it's very easy to answer so it could be the victim of its own success. So, like, for instance, what should I say? Against Doomblades and Ultimate Price,
Yep.
it actually shines in a way other big dumb fatties don't, because other big dumb fatties get Ultimate Priced and now they're dead. That's a shame.
Yep.
Whereas this has huge value. On the other hand, it's kind of one of those things that's self-capped in efficientness, because if Hornet Queen suddenly became the finisher of choice for green devotion decks, the tools are right there. Drown in Sorrow, Bile Blight,
Yep.
Mizzium Mortars. Like, there's lots of... Heck, even whatever the red Electrickery makes a mockery of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like, if you wanted to answer Hornet Queen, it's very easy.
Yes.
So it'll only
Yep.
be good while it's unknown.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
it's
Naman, you're
an
back.
option.
I
Yeah.
am.
What's up, dude?
I'm so sorry about having
No
to go
worries.
AFK. Emergency
That's
phone
fine.
call and stuff. So
Well, I
I
hope
missed
all
like
is okay.
everything. But everything is doing better now. But I hear we're talking M15 spoilers.
Yep.
We were just going over the last few that we saw that
Cool.
were big value. Not soon after, we're just going to do the top 25. And then questions from chat. I've got 2 so far, so...
I dig it.
Sure. So something I've been wondering about is Convoke. Like, if it's pretty prevalent in this set. There's like Overwhelm, obviously really good if you can cast it for like 3 mana or whatever. You've even got a lot of token makers and just a bunch of really good Convoke cards. Question 1: do you think there's any chance that Court of Calling gets reprinted? And 2: is Convoke good enough for this standard right now? Like, you were just talking about how Hornet Queen can be really bad because of Drown in Sorrow, Anger the Gods, stuff like that. Convoke kind of seems to, fall off for the same reasons. You're playing a bunch of little dudes, like you're playing Resi Alarm and stuff, and then you guys are just getting wiped on turn 3. It's not ideal. Do you think it's good enough, though? Like, could it get there?
I will go first. I think, as of right now, it could be very interesting.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I like it, but I don't know.
Sure.
What do you think, Bill?
It's tough because Convoke is not... Convoke... It's hard to talk about a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Because if there was a card that cost 1 red mana and dealt 20 damage to a player and it had Convoke, it'd be good enough. But so I think you would just have to ask on a card-by-card basis.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anything in the spoiler yet with Convoke that turns me on.
I'm wondering more, is the chance that you might just get blown out really badly if you're playing a deck that has... Because if you're playing Convoke, you kind of need to turn that on. So it has to be specific kind of decks, like a white weenie deck or like green-white aggro kind of thing.
Sure.
Like where you're making a lot of tokens and you're populating or whatever. So those decks are weak to those cards. Is there a chance that something is good enough to make Convoke good? Like, obviously, Courts of Calling is printed. I think it'll be played. But
my appraisal of that would be that if there are Convoke cards of a similar power level to last time, where they're costed as such that you are only getting a bargain if you're convoking with 2 or more creatures, then I think that it is not worth going out of your way for.
I'm right there.
Too many. There's already bigger rewards for putting lots of permanents into play at the same time. So, like, already, Devotion is there to incentivize you to say, hey, if you could get 3 creatures to stay on the table all at once, you're probably going to have great rewards coming your way. And the format has adjusted to stop that from happening because people play Esper, and there's answers in red and mono black and blue white, all trying to stop that from happening. And those same answers will apply to you if you're trying to keep 3 creatures in play so you can convoke really awesomely.
Okay.
That's my
I think something like Quarter Calling just needs to be printed for it to be good enough. Like, nothing I see here is good enough, and was Convoke popular in Ravnica set? I didn't play then, so I don't actually know.
I did, and it was a surprise shot, I'd say, on a lot of... Like, you get, like, oh my god, it happened. But I don't remember it being a standard staple.
Yeah. Obviously, draft, it's going to be pretty good. Some of these cards, like Siege Worm, seems pretty playable. For in a draft set, anyway.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well,
right, so... Go ahead.
And I think the angel that if you actually look, the angel I've been talking about is the Aegis angel. Look all the way at the bottom.
Oh, the 6, yeah.
6
no,
for 5/5. Another target has gains indestructible as long as you control Aegis angel.
That's actually in standard already.
Which one?
What?
Aegis angel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a pre-existing card, and it was in M13, I want to say?
What color is it?
No,
I
it
don't
was
even
in
get no spoilers.
M12. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, it was it was before that.
It was in M12, but to no exciting end.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I like to break cards, so we'll see. So
I don't even see it. What color is it?
it's white. It's towards the bottom. You have to go all the way down.
I didn't see it. Alright, whatever.
So we have a question, and I will take this question. Does Darksteel Citadel being an M15 point towards a thematic thing in the next block? Well, honestly, I would say so, because Ornithopter got reprinted too.
Yeah, I don't know if either of them really point to it themselves, but perhaps having both does. Like, I don't know. Ornithopter. So when was the last time Ornithopter was actually reprinted? It was M11, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
And those are before we went into Scars.
Yep.
So maybe it certainly could. Like,
it's been a while since we've had a standard deck that's affinity based.
Yeah. I really don't want Affinity to be the actual mechanic that comes back. I don't mind artifact-based decks. I think they're a lot of fun. Affinity's not.
Just saying.
I got my hand on turn 2.
It's fun when you are playing it, but when you're playing
sure.
against it, not as much fun.
Not so
It also, because I mean, we have Springleaf Drum's already been reprinted. Now we have Ornithopter, Darksteel Citadel. Is something coming? I don't know.
It could.
Yeah, I mean, it could be cool to see some
that?
more artifacts in the new set.
I feel like yes. I feel like maybe because I'm an affinity player for Modern, so I'm that dirty guy you hate sitting across because I literally look at my hand and go, "Buh," and throw it down on the table and go, "I win."
Nature's claim. Boom. Get out of here.
Urkel's retail.
Yes.
Like,
Get that
Oh.
crap out of here.
Stop it. Even just
Slap
like
his hand.
so
Yeah.
good.
So I mean, maybe it's too early to call. I think we got to wait for.
I think so. From what we saw of Concept Art here, it looks like a kind of the grungy kind of set. Not really,
I kind of got like a
effects.
barbaric feel from just
Yeah.
the pictures, and that's what
Like,
I'm
they just-
excited to see what they can do with it.
They look like Mongols. So that's just what I thought of right away. So I don't think that they specifically have anything to do with artifacts. But if we're looking at color pies, I mean, it certainly could. Like, it's the pie pieces, right? The one in its hated colors is called the pie pieces. So, I don't know, like, blue, black, what would be green? Yeah, blue, black, green. Is that artifacty at all? Not really. So I kind of lean against it.
I also would advise against taking Ornithopter as a sign that Affinity is coming back, because I would only call it an accident of magic that Ornithopter is considered to be a card that's associated with Affinity. Like, for a very long time, Ornithopter existed as a fun card because they've said in design, it's very interesting to give it to beginners and see what they think about the idea. Like, you get a creature and it costs you literally nothing. What is this worth? And then only later, because Magic is silly, did it become like, oh, this is coincidentally the best creature to wear a cranial plating. But I think today it's back because it's cool to have a 0 mana 0/2, not because, I don't know.
Yeah, I think them putting Ornithopter plus Darksteel Citadel is maybe what is giving people the thought that it might be a thing.
Yep.
There's also an artifact commander that's going to be in this set.
What?
Oh, no, those are non-legendary creatures. Never mind, I'm completely wrong. That's in conspiracy.
Yeah.
So
I was like-
what I just
I was
said.
gonna say you're
Something.
just wrong.
Sorry. That was yes. I don't know. Like Kiln Fiend's in the set or Torch Fiend. Ooh.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're going to have artifact hate? No.
So other than that, let's move on to the top 25.
Well,
Are there any other cards
before
there?
there was one other thing I want to talk before we get into top
Sure.
25. What are your guys' thoughts on the whole other people designing cards? Because they released the Penny Arcade's design,
Yeah, the black one.
Yep.
or the Avarice Amulet is what they designed.
Oh, is that something they made?
Yes.
This is
Okay.
just a weird card. That's
And
what
yeah, so we're starting to see like these really weird just cards get thrown into this core set, like because they have a long list of people that are working on designing cards for, like the guys at Penny Arcade are doing it. Notch I think was doing one, and it's all over the place.
Guys
with
from
different
Blizzard and
people. Yeah, guys from Blizzards are doing one. The community designed one.
Waste
So-
Not. Yes.
so like there's that whole flavor thing for the core set. Do you think this is going to be something they're going to try to do like every core set, or what are your guys' thoughts on having them have people design cards like this?
Depends on the quality of the cards.
Yeah, it depends on how good the cards
So
are.
I think Genesis Hydra is a fine card. It's clearly not broken in any way, but it's very good. Like if I spend 5 mana on this, okay, I want to be spending more than 5, like 7 mana, you get a 5/5, and you probably get you for sure get a card on the top of your deck. So 7 mana for a 2-for-1, and one of those cards is a 5/5. It's decent. Maybe you can do 6 or whatever. So that's pretty good. That might see a little bit of constructed. Avarice Amulet? I don't know about this one, guys. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
So it has +2/+7 vigilance, and at the beginning of your upkeep you draw a card. Obviously, that's really good, and I thought it was just that at first with the quick cost 2, and I was like, wow, this might actually see standard. But when that creature dies, you have to give away the amulet. So maybe if you have a deck that kills a lot of creatures, and you can kind of if they get rid of your guy, you can just kill their guy right away, and you get the value. But
Or it's for Commander where you can make a game out of giving it
Sure.
away. I mean, go ahead and kill my guy. I will give it to the other person who's also allied against you, and now it'll be your problem still.
That's kind of cute there. Is that the only two? No, there's the black one too. What's that?
Yep.
Is it Necromancer's Assistant? No.
Yeah. Well, no.
Zathard Slyblade
Yep,
is
was
by
designed.
the guy from Warcraft.
Yep. Blizzard designed
Yes,
it.
the Blizzard one.
So.
I don't know.
It's a, I think it's a reference to their style of rogue, the very World of Warcrafty style rogue.
Yep.
I wish it looked a little bit less like Lily. I mean, I know it's not Lily, but
Yeah.
it looks close enough.
No, it was very close. No, I do agree with the guys saying in chat. Genesis Hydra could be very broken depending on what's out there.
I don't know. I don't
If you do it for 5, you could pop a really big creature out.
Yeah. Greater Gargadon isn't in the set. That would be broken.
Nope.
Look, this card's converted mana cost is 0. Or, oh no, it's 9, isn't it? It's not one of the ones that you can only...
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I thought it was like the rebalancer print.
Top 5, or let's top 25 it really quick. No change in your top 10. I'm pretty sure Reed Duke, and they've already said that, is locked in for the championship there.
He's number 1, man. Player of the year.
Yep,
I
player of the
don't
year.
know if anyone else even comes close to deserving it as much.
He's done the grind. Other than that, Patrick Chapin sitting at number 10. Josh Utter-Layton at 4. So, I mean, we do have some pretty big names in that top 10.
Yeah, the biggest mover was Li Shiqian.
Yeah, moving up 5 spots.
The 11th. And, like, a bunch of guys went down by 1 because, obviously, he jumped
Yeah,
all
he
of them.
moved. Jared Boucher's still sitting there in the top
Yeah.
25, though. He'll definitely... I feel like they keep saying it, and I agree with him. He's going to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
So.
I don't think... It's on Pro Points, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone's even close to catching him.
So. Now, Bill, have you worked with any of those guys, or, you know?
Oh, just Chapin.
Just shaping up.
It is the Gathering, so it might gather more people in as time goes. But in these fledgling stages, still, it's Chapin for now.
No
There's been
worries.
interest from others.
It's a good name.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
I mean, State of the Gathering, The Gathering. I mean, it's like 2 peas in the pod. I mean, come on.
I meant it's a good name to have on your buddy list there, being Patrick Chapin. A
Yeah.
lot of people kind of like that guy. For some reason, I don't know what it is. He's just really popular or something.
All right, so questions.
You've
The
got a
real,
good question.
yeah, we had 2 of them from the Real Snake 1. Hey, State of the Gathering, what do you guys think of Melirapod in Modern right now?
It's really good.
Pod in general is good. I think Melirapod is good, but I think there's a lot of other versions of Pod out there that just can take it on any given day.
So right now, there's 3 versions of Pod. There's Lair Pod, Kiki Pod, and Angel Pod. So Kiki
I'm a
Pod-
big fan of Kiki Pod.
Kiki Pod's cool. I think it's actually maybe the weakest of the 3, but it's certainly the funnest. Like, when you win with Kiki Jiki Resto Angel, as opposed to, like, just making infinite, what are those, kitchen finks? It's more rewarding, because you actually get to attack and kill your opponent, rather than say, I'm at 2 million life. That's not the great. So that's kind of cool about that. I think the best one is probably still Melirapod, though. Like, that,
Melira,
the combo's
yeah,
really
right.
good. I don't know, the deck's just so solid.
And that's what's a good way to have a top pillar deck like that is it's just a solid deck with really powerful creatures, and you're
And
just
it's
going to play better
creature-based.
creatures than your opponent. Like,
I don't
Yeah.
know who's, like, anyone who's upset about the best deck having, like, 20 creatures in it is just, I don't understand what terrible things can happen in this game.
Now, Bill, what Modern deck do you run?
Mono Bluetron.
Okay.
oh, nice.
That's
Okay.
the most satisfying way to win.
So-
Like, Infinite Mana and
So,
Mindslaver
what
Pod.
about you? Anything on which pod deck, or...
I think it's pretty clear that Pod is the best deck in Modern. I think it frustrates people because it's hard to stop the Pod and just the assortment of value creatures at the same time. Like, especially from Melirapod, where you're really suspicious, like, sure, you can stop them from doing any number of infinite things if you choose to invest your resources there, but, like, Gavany Township is going to you will lose surprisingly fast to the Llanowar Elves and the Birds of Paradise and the Kitchen Finks.
Yep.
And I think that's why it frustrates people. And then it's like if you want to play a game that can actually fight, the Kitchen Finks and Elf side of things, you better not tap out, or you will suddenly be facing infinite life. The only real thing you can do is mind slave them.
Yeah.
Which is but I
clearly the answer.
of the types, I think Malirapod is the best, but I have not piloted them, so I can only say from the other side of the table, I've been most frustrated by Malirapod. The other decks, the other two styles don't have the flexibility of Malira. Malira is an infinite life deck and an infinite damage deck and an aggro deck, whereas the other two are just combo decks.
Yes.
I think the Angel Pod deck is more. So the Angel Pod deck only has one combo in it. It's Spike Feeder and
Archangel.
Yeah, Archangel too.
Yep.
So I think it's probably the least combo of them, but it really wants to do the mid range deck plan. I like having the combo available though. I think that it gives the deck that little, it can win those games where it just seems like you're dead, and then he's like, okay, birds. All right, so I'll pod that for my little guy who leaves a token behind, and the next turn you pod for that, and then you court the calling and get your Viscerous here, and you're like, all right, I got a 3, you're dead. It kills people out of nowhere.
Yep.
And the Angel deck doesn't have that quite as much, so I think it's a little better there. Honestly, though, like any incarnation of the deck is very, very good.
No, pod itself is very strong. So if you guys are going out and playing, because it's Modern PTQ season.
John!
Oh, I'm so excited.
If you guys can build pod, build it and learn it and learn because my buddy who's been playing probably 10 years, as he put it, it is one of the hardest decks to pilot because there's so many you need to know every interaction with it.
Yeah, you need to make decisions all the time.
So
and it's different than a lot of other decks, especially a couple that are in Modern, where you're not really making decisions, you're just kind of counting. So it's a little different in that sense.
So
and it is kind of the top deck in Modern. That doesn't mean you should rush out and make that be your first Modern deck if you're trying to get into Modern. There's a
Mono
lot of,
Blutron.
yeah, there's a lot of decks in the format that are a lot of fun to play.
I played it last week, Bill. I played against it. And it is the most frustrating matchup for me in Affinity at times.
Oh, that's I have a 12 card sideboard for Affinity.
Oh
I hate you.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Well, that's the thing. There's so
Yeah.
much you need it. Like there's Affinity is all over the place. That everyone just has their sideboards against it, and that's why that turned me off against it.
Bro, I can't at my local card shop. I've won every match I've played across 2 Modern tournaments with Mono Blutron. Because it preys on other combo decks and it preys on control decks, and that's what everyone else there is playing. Then when I went to Grand Prix Minneapolis, I got paired against Infect and Kiln Fiend and Zoo. It is hard to beat those decks, especially Infect, because I am losing the game and facing 11 combat damage of Infect on the stack, and my board is a tapped Urza's Power Plant. And it's I had that in play and I died. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks.
This deck combos too quickly.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I play Infect.
Oh, nice.
He sure does.
Nice. Yeah.
So next question.
Oh, okay.
No, go
Guess
ahead,
we're done
Brandon.
with that
No,
topic.
go ahead, Brandon. If you had something.
I don't remember what I was going to say anymore.
All right. So next question was, they wanted us to discuss Modern and if we think it'll be coming back strong or will Standard still be the favorite to play. That was from Real Snake 1 again. So thank you guys for the questions. If you guys have more, please ask some. So I'll leave it to you guys. Do you think Modern... I have my answer because I know where they're going with this. Do you think Modern is the place to be, or do you think they want Standard to be like the flag bearer of Magic?
Yes, Modern is the place to be.
Modern is sweet.
It is a great investment into Magic.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's an eternal format, but it's one that's regulated a lot more than Legacy. And I think that is kind of scary. Like, so look at Deathrite Shaman, a card I'm sure a lot of people invested in when it was in Modern. They're like, wow, this is going to go up. It's going to be so much money. And then it's banned really quickly, and those people kind of got screwed over. So I think it's a little scarier to get into Modern again, like we have Pod right now, which everybody's like, oh my goodness, this deck's way too good, needs ban. And I think, it could happen, it could not. And investing in the deck right now is kind of scary. So as compared to Legacy, it's a little worrisome to invest into it. In the long run, yeah, Modern's going to be a thing. Like, it's cheaper than Legacy's and it's an eternal format, but it's still, very diverse, and it rewards you for knowing your deck. So I think in the long run, it's going to be a format of choice. What it really takes for Legacy to be overtaken is for Star City to want to do Modern, and I don't think they will.
It has. I was actually just going to start talking about it. They are starting to do Modern tournaments starting next month.
Oh,
Every Sunday they're doing
Sunday.
they're doing Legacy, but they're doing a Premier invitational qualifier for Modern. So they basically they came out and said they wanted to do more Modern, but they don't want to give up on Legacy and they don't want to give up on Standard. So how do we do this? Well, some guys don't have the money to get into Legacy, but you still want to get into the Invitational.
Well, here's your chance. And the coverage will not be for Modern at the event.
No.
It's still going to be Standard, and then Sunday and all that stuff. It's do the top 8. It's still going to be Legacy. You'll have all the normal stuff. The broadcast is not going to change at this point, but it's letting Star City have more avenue and maybe test the waters too. It's a good way to do it and see what the turnout is for things. But I think it's growing. Like with the Pro Tour being Modern, all these PTQs are Modern base. Star City's picking it up. The prices are going to kind of fluctuate. Like now, actually, I just started to see some of the fetch lands start to drop again. So maybe this is the time. Start picking up a few things.
Well, also
kind of burst on the fetch lands, so they came back down, and now they're probably just going to start going back up again. Now that it's Modern PTQ season, everybody needs to get their deck together. So if you're going to buy fetches, do it.
Well, here's my other big thing. The reason I say Modern is going to be the format of choice is because Wizards already said they want to reprint fetches. It's not going to be this set.
Yeah.
But it's going to... They said it's a year out still.
I don't see that as replacing Standard, though, because they're four very different things.
No, but I see them wanting to give someone a cheaper intro into Modern, because they know, literally, if you want to run a Premier deck, generally you need fetches.
Unless
it's still not going to make it's still not going to make it the format anyone can pick up. Like, you still need Standard to be I don't think Modern can ever be as big as Standard, because Standard is for the growth we were talking about with Magic, which is when I meet the person, the coworker in the cafeteria who's playing, Standard is their way into competitive Magic with a deck made out of all the good Boros commons from Gatecrash. Whereas, sure, you can get people cheap fetches through next year's fall product, which is great, but that is not going to get them Tarmogoyfs, it's not going to get them Lilianas of the Veil, and even if those cards get reprinted, there's going to be a new one. Modern is where $100 cards can live. Legacy is where $500 cards can live.
Very true. No, you have a good point, Bill. Honestly, it's a very good point. And I laugh at that when you say they build decks out of all the commons out of Gatecrash, because I had a mono red deck that I got a guy into. He came into the store for Game Day Theros. All he had done was draft. He was a draft guy. And he's like, I want to play, and I just don't have a deck. I said, dude, I got 5. And I said, what do you want? And he goes, what do you got? And I said, well, I listed them off. He goes, mono red sounds cool. And literally, that guy is now in Legacy. He's in Modern. He is in, he plays he's in the store literally, I think, 6 days a week playing Magic.
That's why I mentioned the Gatecrash Commons thing, is because when I go to FNM, I get to see people along every point of the enfranchisement scale as players, ranging from And just one thing that's awesome about the guilds of Ravnica is they offered this great foothold to people on their way up into standard. Like, hey, nobody's saying you're going to win the tournament with this. It's not like Dimir is the best deck in standard or anything. But if you were to throw together all the good Gruul cards, you would have a thing. And actually, we've got like one young person who doesn't have much to their name per guild. Like last week when I was there was a Gruul guy, there was a Rakdos guy, there was a Rakdos girl, and there was a another Gruul girl.
Yeah, I'm the teacher for our store. Like, I do all the teaching sessions, and if there's people that want to learn, I'm surrounded by my children of my collection, and I have a lot of pauper decks built to teach them, where it may not have all the rares and all that you kind of need to be a tier 1, but I generally will hand them that and say, no charge, here you go, and we'll get you started.
Yeah, it's
Very cool.
A bunch of comments. It's like 30 cents.
No, I have some rares in there, trust me, it's not everything.
Okay, sure. I mean, they were pauper.
Well, they kind of are pauper-esque. Trust me, I have enough product.
Budget.
Yeah, they're budget.
Sure.
I have enough product where I can make it work. So.
Hey, friends, well, I must excuse myself now.
Yeah,
So, guys,
we're pretty much done anyway.
yeah,
so
thank you very much. Bill, tell them where they can find you, and we'll have you back sometime in the near future.
Awesome. Sure. I'm Spruke. I'm Spruke, Spruke, on every site. I'm Spruke on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Mixcloud, and everything in between. And you can find 6 original albums by me in iTunes and in Spotify. You can find The Gathering with me and Patrick Chapin in iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube. And Bump in the Night releases with a new hour of music every Monday morning on iTunes and MTGcast.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Brandon, Nanman, and Patrick for having me.
Oh, no problem, bud. I will chat you up later. You know that?
All right. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. Later,
Have a
bud.
good one.
Good times. Thanks for coming on.
All right, let me do this, and we'll just leave his stuff up there.
Sure.
So.
I think, yeah. So, I mean, we talked mainly about the different things, but I'm surprised you did not see anything about Star City picking up Modern.
I was gonna leave that for next week's show because it's the end of the month. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah. No, they're starting 2 big things. They're doing Wednesday Night Magic, they're calling it, where they're going to support your local shops with pins and just swag in general. Yeah. And then they're going to be doing basically Modern. Well, they're doing every Sunday Modern Premier Opens, but they announced the Premier Open. Basically, it's like, well, I wanted to do a Super IQ, but my store is so big and it could fit, 2,000 people, and I could fill that if I had the chance. This is like a $5,000 Premier Open now. So it's pretty awesome. Wow,
Also
I'm
means
just
we'll
looking
have
at his
more modern lists from Star City, which is sweet.
Yep.
Yes, which I'm very happy about.
I am looking at his thing, and I feel like I should have to buy this now from him.
What are you talking about?
The Gathering with Bill and Patrick Chapin. I feel like I need to listen to it
it's
now.
pretty sweet. I was listening to some of it earlier. But I got to test out my Merfolk deck. Well, I didn't technically test it out. A buddy of mine came to play in the Modern Tournament with me on Tuesday, and I lent him the Merfolk deck, and he was doing very, very well with it. And then we played against each other, and I was just too quick for him, since I was playing Infect. And that's just how it works out.
Is that a good matchup for Infect?
Yes and no. I've gotten pretty lucky with it. The thing since I'm running Bug, that I basically give him a free chance to have unblockable stuff with one of my lands, without him having to do any spreading seas on me.
So does every deck in Modern though. So I guess
right.
it's not that. Yeah.
I've in all the playtesting that I've done with the Merfolk versus Infect, I've only been able to win once with Merfolk against it.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I still am working on the sideboard. I think I have about 10 or 11 cards in the sideboard for my Merfolk deck right now. So that's sort of what I'm in the process of constructing at this point in time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like I said, I got my affinity done, and now I'm moving on to what I'm called Cruel Control, which is Cruel Ultimatum and Control.
Yeah, that's Mr. Polichion has a pretty decent list that he was playing a little while ago for that. So it's a thing in Modern. I don't know if it's super popular right now though. Like I'm not sure how well he did with it. It was a cool list though. Like watching him play it was fun.
That's
Maybe
why I
just
want
'cause
to play
Cruel-
it. So,
Cruel Ultimatum is just like a sick card.
so. No, I definitely agree. Is there any other questions out of the chat? If not, maybe we should drop a few hints of next week's guest, which Nightman will sadly miss.
So-
I will. I'm gonna go on vacation.
I'm trying to think. All right, his descendants may come from northeastern Canada. That's a good one right there.
That's what you got. Okay.
I don't know how else I can give a hint without.
I feel like if you try to give a hint, you're gonna spoil stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I think my hint's pretty vague. It's going to involve people Googling what sort of people worth mentioning would, not, I shouldn't say it that way, but what sort of people that are pretty popular would come from northeastern Canada, and then love to connect the dots from there. So, it's a little teaser,
Because I've got the next 2 weeks planned out.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see anyone interviewed on the show too, please let us know. I can reach out to most of the community and get just about any player. So.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I'm looking forward to next week. He's going to be a guest host. It sounds like. So maybe I'll have to make a special overlay for him.
Figure out what his favorite card is. Or her.
Yeah.
You never know.
Maybe
Take his
we should have Melissa Del Toro on.
That'd be cool.
That
That's
was
pretty good.
She's a good player. So.
What's the prerequisite for coming on? You have to be interested? Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully she makes it.
So I don't know. Maybe but we have a great show next week. A lot more M15 stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about this person's life and magic and just about anything with him or her.
We'll announce who it is a little earlier, so you will have time to send in questions.
It will be announced Wednesday night on our verses. Yep, we're gonna do. I generally am gonna announce our interviews that Wednesday night when we're doing our versus video on this channel. So that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys are watching that, you'll hear who it is. Drop me a message on here or on Twitter at @YouArePatMcLean.
Or just be here.
Or just be here and drop a question in chat.
Yep.
And that will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this. I'm calling this basically my Big 10. We're going to do basically 10 big interviews in a row. And maybe this will be a new thing for State of the Gathering for a while. Do some.
Well, we gotta not have anyone on the 11th. No, 10th. Because that will be set review day.
Okay. So I will not schedule anyone for the 10th then.
Unless Matt Hicks wants to come back and do the set review with us, which would be sweet.
I can ask him.
Yeah, maybe that'd be cool. See if he's busy or not.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to catch him playing online lately, so.
Fair enough. Anyway, do you guys want to do weeks quick?
Yeah, let's do weeks, and then we'll close it out. So, Brandon, how was your week this week?
It was alright. We did a draft. I went 2-1 with another blue-white deck. Or no, was I white-green this time? I don't know. I was a white, aggressive kind of deck. Last time I was kind of like the blue-white temple strategy. This time, yeah, I was white-green. It wasn't nearly as good. My deck wasn't, and I kind of crushed the first two people I played anyway. Wasn't very close. And then in the finals, I played like a blue-red kind of tempo-y deck. And he got me. I actually had a conversation with him afterward. He was like, "Yeah, I passed Homing Wave. Really thought I'd come back. I really wanted it for my deck." I was like, "Yeah, I wish you'd gotten it. I probably would have won if you had that in your deck." And he just looked at me like, "What do you mean? That card's awesome." I'm like, no, it's completely unplayable. All that's gonna happen is you're gonna tap out on your turn to play Homing Wave, and then I'm gonna replay all my stuff before you. And it's like tempo disadvantage and his card disadvantage. That's how bad it is. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. But we also got to play Cube on Saturday, which was sweet. I actually won this time, so that was sweet. I drafted another Bant deck, but this time I had a Mirari's Wake and Sphinx's Rev. And if you've never tried that combination before, it's pretty stupid. So I would advise that you give it a shot. The funny thing is, so I had 3 packs of Conspiracy before the Cube draft, and I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'll just open them. I want a Mirari's Wake. I'll open it. No, nothing. Second pack. Hey, look, Mirari's Wake. So I was able to throw that in my cube and then draft it and win with it. So that was pretty funny. Other than that, really didn't do much. I did play like a bit of Standard, but I wasn't able to play my own deck, seeing as it was at home. So not too much to say there.
Nice. So, Nan?
So, like I was talking about, I did some Modern. Was playing Effects again, top 4. I lost to one deck, and it was Affinity. And if I had one more turn, I would have won. And sometimes that's all it takes. And then it was close. But I mean, the only guy I lost to was the guy that took first in the whole tournament, so I can't be that upset.
Was it like in the finals?
No, it was the round before the finals.
Okay.
And
so you were top 4?
Yeah. Got 4. I got 4th place. So.
Okay. Top 4 all the time.
All the time. So it was good. Like I sided in all of my anti-artifact cards in there. I've got like 3 like destroy artifacts in my sideboard, and then I sided in my abrupt decays, and I never saw the abrupt decays. My artifact hates I saw the first 2 games, and then the 3rd game when it mattered, nope, no removal at all. So sometimes that happens. But I was happy to see the Merfolk deck did pretty well for itself. So, and then I drafted more Conspiracy, and this time I got 2nd place.
Nice.
I got the Lurking Automaton, which is the construct that whatever number you draft it, that's its power and toughness. So I picked it up 9th, and I drafted one after that in the next booster. So I had 2 9/9s for 5 mana cost. And I had the Altar of Deception or whatever, the one that says sacrifice a creature and target player discards the top cards of his or her library equal to that creature's power. Mm-hmm. And I was in blue-black, so I had like 3 or 4 cards that let me get creatures back from my graveyard. So I'm like, and you mill 9, and you mill 18, and these guys come back, and you mill 27, and it's great.
You get to mill, and you get to mill.
It's great. So much fun to be able to mill everybody out. So yeah, I got 2nd with that. I'm still having fun with Conspiracy, and I'm sad because I'm going to be gone all of next week, so I'm not going to be able to play Modern, and I don't know if there's going to be any more boosters left of Conspiracy when I get back from vacation.
Well, they're printing more, so don't worry about it.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Oof.
This isn't a limited run, thank goodness. Conspiracy would be so much money if it was. Oh my goodness. It's still like just worth drafting. I think even right now your value is going to go up, and the cards are going to go up in value. Like they're going to be more expensive themselves eventually.
Yeah.
Like Mirari's Wake for $10? No, listen, guys. It's going to be back to its old cost eventually, and at that point you're going to really want all your copies. So it's a good set to just go play.
Yep, definitely.
Just buy boxes of.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my week.
No, yeah. For me, I played a little bit, didn't do a ton. I played a lot online. I'm testing what I call my Fun Police, which is my red, white, blue control. Or if I want to go into Esper control, I'm not sure yet. It's going to be one of 2 things. Getting ready for, like I was talking to Bill, SCG Open in Syracuse. He'll be there, I'll be there. I will tell you, shenanigans will probably ensue. So, and if he's doing a show that night after the thing, I'll probably go out and catch that. So,
cool.
So
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, things are good. Next week, super special guest. The following week, and even they're just all going to be awesome.
Equally
and simple.
super special.
Uh,
This week, equally super special as well.
yeah, thank you so much to Bill.
Yeah.
Honestly, an awesome guy, super special guest.
He was super fun to have on.
Yeah,
Just
he was a
wanted to
lot of
talk
fun. Fun to talk with. He's got a ton of experience. I mean, even work with Patrick Chapin and all that. Chapin's awesome. Work with
Yeah.
Jamie Park. That's awesome. So, honestly, really awesome. We'll have to get him back on. Guys, check him out on iTunes. Bump in the Night is his podcast. Also, you can follow him on Twitter at Spruik. I still left that up. But really, he's got stuff all over iTunes and SoundCloud and all that. So, like I said, give him some love because he is pretty awesome. And I literally could sit there and jam to it and just,
Yeah, I've been listening
Jam.
to both the entire time.
yeah. And so,
Great.
it's a podcast I follow actively now. So, yeah. Other than that, all of our Twitters are below us if you're watching on Twitch. If not, they will be soon in the YouTube. So, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Sadly, Natman will not be with us. He's taking a vacation.
Much needed.
Other than that,
vacation.
our guest will be joining us in Natman's spot, and I'll have to find out the special card they love and create a special overlay for that. So,
Yeah.
other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and have an amazing night and weekend.
Alright, peace.